Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the next 10,000 Minutes experiment. And to my right is Imoy Donice.
Hello.
Chris Cleveland over there to the
guys.
left. And then to my, gosh, I can't say hot left because you're not my wife, but you're
Rude.
Chris's
No,
wife.
she was
No,
celebrating
but you're, I mean,
that.
super hot. It just feels like weird to be
Okay,
saying
well,
this.
now it's weird.
It's warm in this room.
Now it's weird.
I think you're really pretty.
And,
Keep going.
I love your shoes.
Brotherly
Your shoes
way.
are so pretty.
This is going well.
Chris, you want to introduce your wife?
Yeah, she's better than me in basically all facets of life. She's nicer. She's got a better outlook.
Yes.
She's prettier than I am.
That's true.
She also gave me 3 kids that are pretty great most times. I'm glad she's here. I'm a little nervous.
Do I have a name?
Her name is Mackenzie K. Cleveland. Used to be a
Nice.
Shorb, but I changed that.
No.
I just.
Oh, what do you mean it used to be a shore?
Shorb.
Sure, but it's my
That was
maiden
her
name.
maiden name.
Shorb with a B.
With a B.
Yes.
Okay. Used to be a shore. That's what I heard.
Oh.
But
Well, that's how I talk. I've
Yeah.
realized in this podcast I
He
don't
can't
say
enunciate.
any word correctly
yeah.
or the full word. I mumble through like half of every word. Shorba.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thanks, guys.
We're looking forward to a lot of dirt.
Oh, yeah. I've got it. Ready?
She texted me last night with just a lot of really inappropriate things about Chris. I felt like that was
Mostly
powerful.
photos.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
This
nope.
is a podcast.
This is a podcast. So I can't
stop.
show those.
I thought you would describe them.
Nope. No, it wasn't that. It was just her describing your dumbness. And it was great.
That's easy though.
Okay, so I had my wife on last week, obviously. So
The best.
I had extensive notes for her afterwards. So I was like, Hillary, when you said this, I felt like you were, I really gave her some great notes.
Yeah.
Just feedback.
Did she throw them in the trash?
Oh, she loved it. She was like, oh, Tim, more feedback.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's just, how marriage goes, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So-
and she loves that.
Yeah.
She loves
Yeah.
that.
Perfect.
So,
So,
anyways,
I
we
expect
haven't
the
made
same.
out this week, which is weird yet. But Chris, I know you've got your pen out and you're ready to take some notes.
I'm
for
you
your
know
wife.
what? I really look up to you in a lot of ways.
And that's not one of them.
That's not one of them.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. And my hope is that this show is making you laugh and feeding your soul. And if you'd consider actually giving to this podcast, it's tax deductible. You can give monthly or one time, and you can go to 10,000minutes.com. So would you consider rating or commenting or even sharing this show with some of your friends? And if this show is not for you, no problem. There are a million other awesome podcasts to go check out. So please do that. I know I'm not supposed to really read the negative comments, but I got one negative comment, and they just said it was a little too edgy for them. That's wonderful. And we're not trying to be edgy for edgy's sake, but real, honest, and curious about how to join Jesus in our everyday lives. And really that it would feel like we're just on a walk together trying to figure it out. Thanks, you guys. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so the experiment this week was to lead with grace and giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Ooh.
Like our expectations of other people.
Kenzie's already laughing so hard.
Gosh, this is so great.
Because you guys, I have the perfect example
Oh,
of
gosh,
Chris
I'm so
not
excited.
doing
Stop.
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know what
So-
she's going to talk about already.
It's
last,
okay. It's
last
okay.
night we took the kids to the pool
Yeah.
because it opened Friday.
Yeah.
So every 30 minutes they've asked me, can we go to the pool?
Yeah,
Right. So last night we finally did it. And there's always this thing I will do in my head whenever I'm managing like multiple tasks. And I'll know, okay, well, if I don't do that right now, I can hear Chris's response in my head.
Yeah, his extensive notes.
Yeah.
They're not
Exactly.
extensive normally.
Oh, no. It's usually just a few words. And so I was carrying everything in. There's a huge pile of towels on the ground, and I just stepped over them so I could go set everything on the counter, come back and grab them.
Yeah.
And I barely even made it to the counter, and I just hear Chris, really? And I'd already
prepared yourself.
had that.
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
he was going.
His expectations of you.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's going to be the best podcast ever.
Oh,
It is.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we've grown so much in our marriage.
To be fair, that wasn't the end of the day. It didn't ruin our day.
Oh,
Oh.
no.
Yeah.
At this point, like I was about to say, like we've worked through enough stuff in our marriage that it doesn't like become a thing. I can laugh now
Yeah.
and tell him, dude, I know you so well. I knew that's exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Like I already know that you are just expecting me to leave this pile on the floor and move on. I've got him down packed.
It's
But I
true.
still choose to ignore the pile of towels anyways. So if that tells you anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that moment, you were able to lead with grace. I mean, you didn't go to, you were personally affronted.
Right.
How does that work? What would you normally have done?
So, probably even before kids and a lot of therapy, I would have been so offended and so upset.
Yeah.
And taken it very personally. And he would have as well, I think.
I would have received the same. Yeah.
Yes. And if I would have told him, even brought up to him that I knew he was going to say that and tried to even tell him that I expected that response from him, he would have taken it extremely critically. But yeah, I think because now we communicate better that we can say those things to each other and just laugh about it because we know we know what bothers each other and we know and we know each other. Yeah.
Is that where you went?
I think so.
Yeah.
Ish, basically.
We pretty much just laughed it off.
I think I said, was that the exact word that you expected me to say? Or
right.
I wanted to see how close she was.
He wants to know how right I was before, because then he can kind of push. It's a little pushback. She doesn't know exactly.
No, she knows me too well. Better than I know myself most days.
Yeah. But I think that's just kind of Chris's default.
Which is?
Being, I can't say that. Being not nice.
Well, just the assumption, and then coming to the realization later, oh, okay.
Okay, so Chris, what was your expectation of her?
Oh, I guess to pick up the towels that were laying half in the garage, half in the house, keeping the door from being closed. Although I think we just had a conversation too, because I was rage organizing the garage because I don't care if things are clean. I just care if they're organized. So I won't dust, but I'll set everything where they need to go. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've just come to grips with that's who I am. 36 years old, I'm not going to dust. It's just not the thing.
And I have not.
Yeah.
Come to grips with that.
Yeah. No, so I think she had just said something to the effect of, I wish you would rage clean the house. Yeah, rage clean the house. Rage organize the Which
garage.
I took as like, hey, that's fine. I'm just not going to. It's fine. And then I turn around and I see all the towels sitting there and I'm like, can't even shut the door. What is this? What is happening? But then I was like, I guess I could pick up the towels.
Yeah.
Which I think I did.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are expectations on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also we found some grace pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you choose to get married or have kids, that you just maybe not learn quickly, but eventually you learn. You don't really get to have expectations. I mean, you do, but they're not going to be, you just have to come to grips with they're more than likely not going to be met because they're about you and not, you have how many other people that you can't control. And
gosh, I can't wait to learn that lesson.
Yeah, it takes, listen.
Me too.
I can't wait to learn that lesson.
Yeah, it's nearly impossible.
And if we can do that over towels, imagine what happens to serious things. That's pretty much our relationship.
It's gotten much better.
It actually has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And were some of your main issues over this stuff, do you think?
Oh, for me, for sure. Because growing up, I didn't like conflict. I'm like an introvert, a 9. I don't like to ruffle, whatever. I couldn't vocalize expectations in any way. Yep. So and then going into relationships and marriage, I definitely couldn't vocalize expectations to him. And it affects everything. It affects communication. It affects just how you fight, how you discuss things. Yeah. And so, but we've gotten a lot better. Yeah. I don't know that he necessarily
has gotten better.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, I was hoping.
Wow.
I mean, I am great at it now, but he's just really struggling. Yeah. So, no, I don't know that as humans, I don't think that we know that our expectations aren't met until it happens. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's I think that's on more of the side where Chris leans. Don't you think?
Not aware of the expectations.
Whereas I've become a little bit more aware of them just because I've been this way for so long and I've come to understand myself.
It took me a long time to see beyond myself. I was just probably way more selfish of a person than I thought I was, or was even aware that I was. So I think there's something to that.
Well, and I think once the thing has happened, then you're able to see it and see why.
So now, for the towel, I can see, when you say that, I'm like, oh, yeah, don't be a jerk. That was a stupid thing to say. Sorry. I can see it in the moment. Still doesn't mean I'm not going to say, really? Still haven't gotten to
Yeah, you're
to
not that-
pre-really
not mature
yet.
yet.
Yeah, but at least I can catch it 30 seconds in. Yeah.
After 30
Yeah.
seconds after.
Yeah, that's
Listen,
right.
I'll take it, guys. I'll take it all day.
Yeah. Well, humor is such. I mean, Hill and I always talk about that. I think we even talked about that last week. That if we have humor somewhere in there, then we can probably make it through that stuff. But
Right.
if not, and that's what we talked about last week. Our expectations of other people is actually me losing presence in the moment.
Right.
And awareness of who that person is, giving them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, that happened with me a bunch this week, and I was, I don't know if God's actually doing that. It was almost like, okay, why does this crap keep coming up? Like, this is a hard week. And I'm thinking, it's exactly what we're practicing. So maybe it's just me being more aware of it this week.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
But my expectations of others, gosh, it is so heavy in me. And these past 3 weeks has just revealed so much of that in me that I knew was there, but it's kind of like what you just said, Mackenzie, that we don't really know it until it's there.
Right.
And I guess I'm just more aware of it than I ever have been. Not in the lame way of like, Tim, you suck. But yeah, there's just a lot there for me to start working through and saying, what do I actually believe to be true about God on the bottom of this? With my expectations of him or of other people or of myself. Gosh, there's a lot of learning that I'm doing right now. Okay. The line expectations are premeditated resentments. Like that just keeps rocking my world. Expectations can be premeditated resentments. So how do we do with resentment? Are there things that you guys hold as resentments? I totally do. And I talked about it last week. Like most of them are with my wife or with my kids.
Right.
That I really hold resentments. I mean, there's even something this week that I was bummed about that, I've asked my wife to do and just hasn't happened. And it's French kissing. And just kidding. And it's something that and she knows that we've talked about it many times. And it just becomes this deep resentment in me that I don't even know is happening.
Right.
But then when I peel back that resentment, it's really, there's an expectation on the bottom end of it.
Right.
That might even be fair of a hope, something that hope, but the expectation is when it starts to get dangerous because then it's not being met, which leads me to this premeditated resentment. So I was just thinking for you guys, and so I was trying to, this week I was going, okay, lead with grace. And for me, leading with grace was like, okay, so what all is going on in her world? And it was really, I mean, Carlos said it a few weeks ago. He was talking about how can we, if we could just all stop and pay attention to the person who's in front of us and really like understand their story, things would change. And so this week there were moments that I was just feeling resentment coming on, and I would think, okay, gosh, that girl is doing so much.
Right.
She has so much on her plate. And that's when Mackenzie called me about the towels. She's like, Chris,
It's
I
like,
did not see that I've been working my butt off all.
Get me on the podcast ASAP. I got to talk about these towels.
Yes. Yeah, we weren't even going to do it today, you guys. And Mackenzie asked, she was like, Chris is
SOS,
being
I just got
such
one
a
text.
D. A doctor.
Yeah.
Downright great
Down.
guy.
Yep.
That
Anyways.
was in the pocket. Wow. He was ready. Yeah, one card.
Oh, let's just call him the best from now on.
The best.
Yeah. Okay, so resentments. Go. Who holds those things with other people?
I mean, thankfully before the pandemic, we had a good chunk of time. But when we moved here, he had 6 months where he took it completely off, was home. Because I'm sure, as you know, as someone who travels a lot and isn't at home and you're in a different rhythm, you have a different routine. When that person is at home, it disrupts that, and you have to get used to that, and it changes a lot. And so thankfully this last year really wasn't as hard as I think probably a lot of people that were in the same situation as we were. But I did find myself putting expectations on him and expecting things, just for things to kind of be different around the house or whatever when it comes to tasks. And I became very resentful. And then I finally had to stop, which I don't even know that we've talked about any of this.
I don't think so. Learning.
Yeah. But I finally had to just stop and decide what my role was in that and what my role was in the resentment, what my role was in the expectations, how I handled it, how I was confronting him with it, if I was at all.
Right.
And it really, it led me to grace for him and for myself, and to say, things aren't easy right now. Things aren't easy with him right now.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to be something that just completely explodes. Not every unmet expectation has to explode and be like a life ruining or feel that way.
Totally.
Because I'm going through it by myself, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. And then you try to bring someone else in who they have not been walking along with you.
Yeah.
And
in
those phases,
Yep.
in the cycle and whatever steps you've taken to get to that resentment, right?
Yeah.
They haven't been there.
All
They
that
haven't been talking to you. Yes.
right, in your head.
Yeah. I think just realizing that and saying, why was I feeling this way? Why did I feel resentment based on this one unmet thing?
Yeah. Was it revealing in you?
Yes. And it makes it not easier just to get over it and it just be like it never happened, or that you don't need to work through whatever the situation was to begin with, because obviously if there is something that brings an unmet expectation, or you do have expectations, I don't think that that's wrong, but we have to communicate.
Yeah.
And I think that's what encompasses our expectations, because we don't communicate them automatically, because we just assume as other humans that what I need, because you're a human, you're a person, but I mean,
or sometimes we don't even know what we need.
No, exactly. Yeah. Like we can't even communicate them. And so, I think this last year has been pretty revealing of that in myself, of saying, it's okay if those don't get met, and it's okay. Not everything has to be like, we have to work through this and we have to talk about this and we have to, because I just kind of finally got to the point where I was like, I have to just let it go. And then if this and then if I still feel like it's something that needs to be addressed, then okay, but I can't ruin my day every day because of it.
I love it. So how does one let something go?
I mean, it sounds like you're validating and empathizing, like that's grace,
right? Yes.
Where it's like you're acknowledging this for you, so you're empathizing. This might be the same for my husband, this might be the same for my kid,
right?
And so sympathy is different. Like sympathy, you can kind of feel bad for someone who's not on your level, but empathizing is like we're both somewhat going through something, so the grace is shared. It's not just I'm giving it to you, we're both standing in it kind of deal.
Exactly. Yeah. Saying, I know how I've been feeling, so I can only assume that there's some of that there for him. I also know that I'm feeling this way probably for reasons outside of just this one thing.
Right.
And so
for sure,
I have to try to understand that first before I can go to him and try to communicate that and say why this one thing just, pushed a button in you, or whatever the thing is, which can be a good thing, but also it's also kind of my default. You have to be careful not to let it build and let it rise and just mound on top of each other. But I do think that there's moments where you do have to just give yourself grace and give the other person grace and let it go and realize that it's not going to ruin your life in this moment.
I think we communicate better. We at least check in with each other better. We used to never do that.
Yeah.
And that's probably the one thing that we do. I don't know if it's daily, but maybe as simple as like, how are you doing? And when I say that, I actually mean it. Like, not how's your day, but like, are you on the verge of existential crisis today or something, like we never did that before. So I think that helps.
Which I don't think we really do with most people.
No.
And when we put those expectations on people and then we're not checking in, we're not, like you said, Carlos, we're not seeing those people. We're not being present with those people and saying, why are they unable to meet this expectation? Is there a reason? Is there something that I'm not seeing or that I can't see because I haven't asked? And if you're not able or willing to be in a place where you can do that, I think that's when you do have to just let it go and say, I'm not at a place where I can meet them and try to help them or take that on for them or be someone who can. Yeah, I think it is all about grace and just say, I'm not able to do that for them, so why am I expecting them to do it for me?
I wonder if there's like a balance of, if you're going to expect something from someone, then you also have to have like an equal or greater commitment to them. to like meet them
Right.
there.
Huh.
Right? I can't expect something of someone and then just be uninterested and uninvolved with them. So I think what Kinsey is saying is that if she has some expectation for me, her commitment to me is even more than the expectation and can sometimes override it. But the balance of like health for the relationship and health for yourself and all that kind of stuff fits in there too.
I think it's something that you find out later on in life, unfortunately, like with your own parents and with relationships you have in your life, is that they're usually can feel very one-sided, but only because that's how they were meant to be for so long in your life. And then you grow up and you look at your parents or you look at anyone else who's been a strong figure in your life and you're like, oh, I really don't try to meet them or ask them or try to counter those expectations and say, what is my role in this relationship? What is my role in any of this? And that's been something, especially over the last year and a half, that's been important for me to check in with myself consistently and say, what is my role in this? Does any of this have to do with me at all?
So healthy. That's so good.
Is what's going on around me, is any of it about me?
Yeah.
And it's usually not. And especially when it concerns other people, because most of the time they're not thinking about you. They're not, when people are making decisions, when people are going through things, as we all do, we have our own expectations and our own things that we need or that we need met. And so we're trying to do that the best that we know how. And when you're in a relationship with people, anyone, there's going to be unmet expectations. And so I think that's been the most helpful tool for me, is to just take a step back and say, it's not about me. And then kind of do the work from there.
That's the beauty of these experiments, these practices, because I think the hope for these practices is that they would leave us more sober during our day. Obviously not the alcohols, just sober in my expectations.
Right.
It's like pulling back,
Yeah.
you know, going to the 50,000 foot view, going, again, like we even talked about last week, like it's holding the space for this thing,
Right.
and just looking at it in this clear box and going, I just want to look at it for a second.
Yeah.
Instead of taking it so personally, which I do.
Yeah.
I get drunk on that so quick.
Right.
And then I'm hammered on
Yeah.
that, and I can't even get out of that.
Right.
It's like my son having a tantrum, but I just have a tantrum internally.
Yeah.
Just it doesn't come out.
Oh, mine comes out for sure. But I feel like I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I need 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I can do that
Yeah.
over the last year. Or there have even been like this year when the world started coming back together and the normal stresses of whatever come in and it hits me really hard and I take it real personal. I can say, okay, I just got this message and I'm really pissed. I need 5 minutes to like clear my head. Whereas before I would just have like taken it out on everyone around me. And then Kinsey's got no idea what's happening,
Right.
you know?
So where does walking with Jesus in this fit? How does that help? Does it not help? I'm always trying to figure out where there are these layers where there's the actual presenting issue that happens right here, the towels. And then there's this next level deeper that's kind of like what counseling does, which is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think is so helpful and so needed. It almost helps us get to the next level down.
Right.
Next level, the base level, is really ultimately, so then what do I believe to be true about God?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what do I truly believe to be true about myself? What am I living out? And then what am I believe to be true about others?
Yep.
So I'm just trying to go to that next level down. And I think all of them are so important. But how does our view of God shape our expectations of others?
Well, I mean, aren't expectations just conditions that we're putting on relationships or people?
Yeah, they're agreements.
Or things, yeah.
It's
that
like
we've,
yep.
like you said, it's like premeditated resentment, but it's like a premeditated condition that you've put on a relationship or you put on a person or a situation.
Yep.
And I mean, to have any type of relationship, you just can't do that. As hard as it is, you cannot do that and it be successful or healthy. And I think that's, I mean, the basis of our relationship with Jesus is it's unconditional. And it's easy for us to remind ourselves of that in moments where we need it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as
Right.
easy to remind
Right.
ourselves
So
that
good.
for other people
Yep.
when they need it,
Yep.
and not just about their walk with Jesus or their spirituality or anything like that. I think we just have a hard time giving other people grace
Totally.
because
I want it so bad. I'm like,
Yeah,
yes,
yes,
God,
yeah.
thank you for your grace.
And
But
I
I don't
need
know if
that
I'm going
today.
to
Yeah.
be willing to represent that to somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then we have to see the whole picture of that whole person, and it kind of all crumbles, you know.
Yeah.
the whole story falls
So
apart.
right, Mackenzie. I love that.
Whenever you do that to someone and you do see them that way, it's just like with anything else. So you start pulling on the strings of why you're feeling this way about someone else, or an expectation or a condition you've put on it, and it slowly just kind of tears apart. And you're like, oh, it wasn't real. I've had this whole thing that I've created in my mind, and this conversation I've had in my mind because of whatever experiences, trauma, whatever I've been through, and I've basically put that on everyone else. And I just think it's important to remember that we're all human and we're all
In process.
yes, yeah, and everyone has their own crap, and we have no I mean, we get like the very top layer of that when we meet people or interact with people or in relationship with people, and it can be hard because you don't want people to be human. You want them to support you. You want them. You want to be able to trust people. You want that. You want to be in relationship, and I find that very hard, especially being an adult and making friends. It's so hard. It's so difficult because you're for lack of better words, you're so messed up, and you have so much baggage and trauma and things, and you're trying to be in relationship with people, but it's just not easy at all. It's a lot easier to not be around people or not deal with that, bring that in. It's like almost you're just bringing more in unnecessarily almost. It's kind of how I can look at
their
it sometimes.
expectations that you're hoping that are, you're like, well, it's not going to be met, so I'm not even going to try.
Right.
Which is so my default.
Same.
Which, where I'm like, I'll just me, myself,
I'll
and
handle it. I got it.
Yeah, which someone had once told me that. They're like, Moy, you're like a switchblade. And I was like, wow, that's cool. I was like, that's awesome. She's like, you can do many things. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, but you tend to sharpen yourself. And I was like, how did that cut me? I'm the switchblade.
Yeah.
How did that cut me?
Right?
And I was like,
oh,
that's so real. I just I'm like, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. You're not going to get my grief. You're not going to get my baggage. You're not going to get whatever. So I'm just going to do it by myself.
My sister called me last week, and she's just gone back to work because she had her third baby at the end of last year, and her maternity leave ended, and her job is really high stress. And she called me and was just having a really hard time, and she started crying, and she was like, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cry, and da da da. And then the next day she texted me and was like, I'm so sorry I called you crying. She was like, you never cry. It's always me. I finally told her, I said, Kelsey, I'm not proud of that. And I think, because before I would have been proud of that. And I would have been like, yeah, you're right. You're always the mess. And I'm never, and now I'm looking at it like, it's not a good thing. I shouldn't be proud of that. It's not something that I hold highly.
Who are you if you would cry in front of people? Like, what does that make you?
I would have said weak before.
Yeah.
Before. I don't feel that way now.
Yeah, but that was kind of what the narrative.
Yes. But that's who people believe me to be because that's who I've always been.
Yeah.
Strong.
Strong.
Right.
And now I'm becoming, I think, a little softer and realizing that that's not something that I need to hold so closely as something that I need to be proud of. And you can still be a very strong person and
be vulnerable.
Yes, be vulnerable and let people know you're not okay and let people in on your struggle, and which has been, I think, another part of why I've been able to hold those expectations a little bit looser, and say I can kind of let go of this and release my grip on it and say it's okay. I don't have to let it just fall back on me and be the strong person and take care of it and go through it by myself and say I got this. I don't have to bring anybody else in or bring in the backup or call somebody and let them know, or you know what I mean? So I think that's been another part that's kind of helped me is I can call someone and say, oh my gosh, I'm just so annoyed or I'm so upset.
Yeah.
And I just need to talk. And not even fix it for me, but I just need to talk through this. Yeah. I remember hearing, like, it was either like a meme or something, but it's like that idea of you go to someone and whenever they're bringing you a problem or something and you stop and say, okay, am I fixing or am I listening?
Yeah.
And that's something that's always been in my mind whenever I am going to people, is like trying to just present them with that information immediately and just kind of, which is another probably control thing, but of me controlling but I think it's helpful to say, you know, just to let them know, like, you know, I don't need it to be fixed, but I just need to talk and I need to just vent. And I don't know. I think maybe I didn't want to let my expectations be known, because then they couldn't be, I couldn't be let down.
Girl, it's so huge. I mean, it's just, it keeps going deeper and deeper into this layer of expectations are on the bottom of a lot of these things. Yeah. And I had heard somebody a long time ago talk about agreements. How many agreements we make with other people just in our own head.
Yeah, that they have no idea about.
I have a whole agreement I have with my wife that she has no clue about.
Right.
Yep.
She has not signed anything. She's not she's
No.
not on board. More than likely.
It's classic. And I'm just not aware of those things. And I think the more sober we become with just stopping and going, okay, Jesus, I just want to practice being present in this moment. What are the agreements? And how many agreements then I have with God? You know, obviously he knows, but I mean, I have so many agreements with him of things he was supposed to do or didn't do.
Yep.
Or I don't even ask because I'm like, my agreement is, okay, you're not going to do anything anyways.
Right.
You know, I mean, all these things are just fascinating when we just really keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And then our agreement with, even yours, Mackenzie, with other people about being weak. I mean, that's an agreement in and of itself of, okay, just so we know, everybody, even though nobody else is listening, I'm not weak. Yeah. I'm strong. Yeah. It's just, that is so fascinating and worth looking into.
Are you saying I need more therapy?
Well, and that's why
we all do.
Because I agree.
We've got your counselor right outside the door. So
bring her on in.
Bridget, come on in, Bridget. That was the first name that came to my head.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
To be honest, it was the third name that came to my head.
Was it?
What was the first two? I need to know.
I said them in my brain. I'm like, nope, that's dumb.
The best
Nope,
part is
that's dumb.
that you always look at the door, so I do too. Like,
know,
is Bridget out there?
It's a whole.
So like you're
bit.
in. You're living the character.
Yeah, this is a carefrontation for you.
Yes, hey, listen.
You thought this whole time you were going to carefront him, but we're carefronting you.
That's how I felt the first time we went to therapy. Oh, we're really going to straighten her out.
And he left real mad. Let me tell you.
Oh my gosh! Talk about unmet expectations.
Yeah.
Oh God, I got a lot met that day. Yeah.
Which then in turn, of course, because as someone like a therapy retreat is my dream. I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, I know I need that. Like in my mind, you know, and so I'm like sitting there, I'm like, I'm not talking about me at all.
I'm not doing any work.
I'm like, come on, I need some work. And I know, and I'm like so happy that he's working through all these things, but I'm like, expectations. Yeah. I'm like, hello.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, this has been what we like to call in the ministry a fertile conversation.
Oh.
I've never heard that in the ministry. And I've done it for years.
Although I do think it's weird.
But just the whole expectations thing.
I don't work in ministry, so I think we can say we don't need to use that word.
No, that's so good.
You know
Is that like
you're
incubation?
leading with grace right
Fertile?
now.
Incubation.
Okay?
Yeah, I thought of the grossest word I could.
yeah.
Fertile felt right.
It did. It was.
Did I
nice.
win?
Yeah.
Chris has a problem with the word incubation.
Really? Why?
That's not worth asking.
That's true.
I could give
I'm
you
sorry.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was I? I should know better.
This isn't safe for the whole family, this podcast. Let's be real honest. But
We do a pretty good job.
I mean, yeah.
I've edited at least 3 things I wanted to say.
Oh, you guys, today, this is so strong. Oh, I do this all the time. So people, if you're listening, and we don't say, too many cursing words on this podcast just because, I don't know, just why not?
Yeah.
We don't need to. But we're not afraid to walk into hard conversations. That's kind of what we've said. But I saw a couple today on my walk this morning with a guy, and they pulled up and they pretended like they were about to hit us, and so you get that face of like, you jerks, oh, you're my friends, one of those. They're awesome. But I saw they had 2 car seats right at a minivan, and right in the second row, 2 car seats that were empty. They just dropped their kids off. So I'm very free with the things I was saying. Let's be real honest. And all of a sudden I hear, "Mommy,
Oh,
what are you?"
no.
I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you have a kid in the back?" They're like, "Yeah, he's way back there. He's fine."
He can't hear you.
It just, the other day, a friend, girl named Mishi, called me, and it was when Chris, we were at that football thing together. Remember that
Like
high
a
school
long
ministry?
time? Yeah,
You were
yeah.
there too.
Oh, Turkey Bowl, which was renamed
Yeah, it
Turkey
wasn't the other
Bowl
day. It was
because
like-
someone
Yeah.
misspelled it.
8 months ago.
Yeah, it was like 8
Yeah,
months
yeah.
ago. So we're at this thing. Sorry,
The other day.
Mackenzie, you
Yep.
weren't there.
Thanks for the invite.
No, but I had all my kids.
He had all the kids.
I
with
would
him.
have invited
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Which she came back to me after this thing and said, "We haven't gone anywhere with the kids
yes.
all year, and
Literally.
I go out of town and you take them to
I
the
had
park
been
with a bunch of people
Stuck
and like
at home
yeah."
every day, every weekend, not taking them anywhere. I finally was like, I'm going to go visit my sister. She just had her baby.
Yeah, that's right.
I literally called Chris. He's like, we're going to the painting place, and then we're going to go to this turkey. I'm like, what the? Cool.
Too
So,
good.
Yeah.
everyone has COVID. Thank you.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, we had everybody breathe on your kids. It was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
great.
It was
Yeah.
great.
So, anyways, my friend Mishi called me, and she's just talking and saying, "How's your year?" And I said something pretty strong, with some strong words, and it's like poop. It's like manure.
You didn't have a good year?
It's it's like a bat in a ship, crazy. That's what I
Yeah.
said, and it's all of a sudden I just said, "Oh, Mishi, it's been crazy," and she all of a sudden goes, "Well, you've got a few little fans here in the car." It was on speakerphone, and I'm like,
Oh my god!
and I hear this, "Hey, Mr. Timmons,
Yeah.
did you write the song Everywhere I Go?" I'm like, "Yeah, buddy, I sure did."
This is a different tip. Bye.
Yeah, bat ships are really cool. They're really cool.
Oh
So
man!
I just have a real gift, and I just got to stop it.
If it's a gift, let it flow.
No, that
let it
happens to me
overflow.
all the
That's that
time.
good.
You
Pass
just gotta
the tip.
own it. Just be like, "This is who I am, guys." Oh, I told you about dropping the one on my dad the other day, right?
And his dad is. I mean, I don't think I've ever even heard him
Oh,
say anything
never
mean
heard him
about
say
someone.
Yeah.
I mean,
a bad
literally.
word.
Yeah.
He's the nicest human in the
He
world.
took it in stride.
We're about to do
Oh.
some questions for you.
Ooh,
So everybody,
Yeah.
we'll be right back.
she was working in the barber shop.
We need the outro music.
Boyfriend kicked her
I'm
out.
gonna
One
let
of
it.
those.
So everybody,
downtown.
I'm about to go to Boston. We were
They
talking
have
about
Arby's
food.
up there?
Chris is like, "But do they have a Chipotle?"
Just thinking
At
of passing
Arby's.
through. Do they have
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Speaking of foodies, do they have an Arby's?
Do they have an Arby's? I'm thinking Kinsey used to live next door to the people who own Arby's. That's
Get out.
That's how rich she used to be before she married me.
Yeah, things went downhill fast.
Totally.
Remember the commitment part?
Oh,
yeah. It's
yeah.
way more value.
I had this agreement in my head, and he just.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I had an agreement in my head when
Oh,
I
yeah.
when I got to the gate and like had to ring in, and then
I fooled
it's
him.
like, oh man, there was no dowry associated.
No, sorry.
You know, we're fine now.
We're working.
fine.
We made it through.
Okay, so Mackenzie, this now is called 10,000 Thoughts.
I don't know if I have that many, but I'll
Well,
try.
I bet you do. You've made so many agreements.
Sorry.
This one is called
Don't make me
10,000
cry.
Agreements. Okay, so what is the agreement you have when you are French kissing Chris?
Ooh.
Go. Okay.
I got one.
Oh, God.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope. This is Mackenzie's moment. Nope. I got you, Mackenzie.
I kind of want to hear it. No.
Listen,
It's like
It's the agreement that sometimes my needs aren't as important.
Oh man!
No, just in the fact that,
Wow.
listen, you will never be a mother. You will never
That's
understand the feeling of being, I've been touched too much today.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's something that I
feel
try
like
to
I'm better
explain
at
to him
that
all
now.
the time.
Yeah, Hillary's had the same thing. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care how much I love you. I
Yeah.
don't want to be touched by anyone.
Yeah.
Even my cute little Chase 4-year-old. He's the cutest
prime
in the
right now.
world.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Lately,
So I have to- but
lately I read a book and she goes and plays Nintendo after the kids
Animal
go to bed.
Crossing? What are you
Harry
playing?
Potter.
Yes.
not
Let's
cool
connect
enough- I'm
after
not cool
this.
enough to
She's
have
like a
Animal
pro
Crossing.
gamer.
Yeah, I'm not cool enough. I just have like
Headset.
the old school Harry Potter.
They
I
just
don't know.
released Apex on Nintendo, so I'll text you.
Okay.
We'll play some
Yeah.
games.
You might have to.
I mean, she's
just-
a
the
pro.
problem-
You know that.
She's like a real
real?
professional.
She like-
I am not a
She
you are-
literally was like in contests.
She gets
Okay,
paid.
back in the day,
All right, back to 10,000 thoughts.
it's like
Okay,
all the
okay,
names he
so
had
that wasn't
for the
it?
Okay,
Am
so
I
therapist.
done?
and this is a speed round. Okay, Mackenzie. So this isn't just like, let me think about this for a while. This is like first thing that comes to your mind.
I'm the worst at
No,
this.
and
Okay.
I am too. Diapers or dishes?
Oh, dishes.
No,
I'm
Wow.
better at diapers, but I hate doing them. And
you never do the dishes.
because I don't have diapers anymore,
I'm
so
the
I don't have to
dishes
choose.
guy.
Oh, this is making me so happy.
Sorry.
This is
Okay.
precisely why I asked that question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're also doing speed fights, so you guys are still winning.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Listen, I can all day.
Still
all day.
love you.
Okay, what's your expectation of each other with the dishes?
I'll do them. I'm fine with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. He does the dishes because I do everything else.
I mean, 1-0. Do you
I can't-
have a bell? Ding, ding, ding. 1-0. Wrapped up.
I can't let him claim that like it's a big.
And without the gloves, Mackenzie, you're my role
Yeah.
model. You're my role
Role
model.
Okay.
I don't even put them on.
Okay, 10,000 thoughts. Quick, first thing.
Okay.
Chris.
I got thrown off because I thought you like threw it. To...
No, Chris. The word Chris. Name Chris.
Oh, he's my best friend.
You
Oh,
just
it's-
won.
Hearts in
That's
the chat.
almost like
Hearts in the
making
chat
out.
right now.
It's better
I
than
had to-
making out. That was
I had to
nice.
redeem myself.
It felt
Yeah.
really good.
Aw.
Okay,
Thanks.
we're back.
Okay,
Please. Fruit snack addictions.
Chris.
Uh,
All day. I mean, it's
I try to eat
So-
them all at once.
like
so
I've something
they'll
like
go.
I've never seen before.
Yeah. No, I mean he was describing
It's
it the other day, and
strange.
it was we were.
It's very weird.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I keep
judging- I'm
buying
judging
them,
him.
so I think there's a
You're
part
enabling.
of me. I know.
You're
It is.
enabling.
I keep asking her to stop.
Because
Yeah.
it's just the best. Like he doesn't have a lot of things that he loves,
Yeah.
so I know he loves them.
Aw.
They're gonna kill me.
Wait.
I think they probably will.
One's out of love, the other one's out of codependency.
I mean, listen, I buy a box and they're gone like within a couple days. And Chase is like, "Where's my fruit snacks, Mom?" It's like, "Mom, can I have some fruit snacks?" I'm like, "No, sorry."
Daddy's eating them.
They're gone.
Okay, do these have caricatures of them
No,
on them?
it's just the fruit, and I
It's
also
just the
organize them
Welch's.
by color.
Yeah,
So it's
a whole
like 5
thing.
or 6
He
packs
dumps them
dumped
all
out,
out.
organize them by color, and I eat them by least favorite up to favorite.
Same.
Ah.
I
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
So how can I not? I mean, I just
Yeah.
Pet peeves.
fudge. I don't
Way to
know.
witness.
I know. Gosh, what's my pet peeves?
Chris saying, "Really?"
I think anybody not giving people respect.
Yeah, lack of. I think injustice, lack of respect. That's where my one comes out.
Cats the musical.
I love it. I had to whisper that.
It's a safe space.
I have it on DVD.
It's probably not the first one. She probably like burnt the first one out.
It was a gift.
She made me go to the real.
I did. I made him take me. I think it
Good.
was
I
like,
love that.
what was it, like my 21st birthday?
I don't remember
I did.
that
I mean,
one. The one that we almost got kicked
I
out
will
of.
not. Oh,
No, that was the
that
Phantom.
was Phantom. That's
Why,
my
why'd
favorite.
you almost get kicked out of
Well,
Family
so
Opera?
good.
One,
Did
the
you
drinks
spoil
are,
the ending?
The drinks are strong.
Yeah, this was before. I don't drink anymore, and this is when I still did. But I did have too much wine because I was very excited.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
the lead's parents were like right next to us
Yeah.
as well.
I know every word, and I
Yeah.
could not.
And
I
she
could
sang
not. I
the
was so
whole
excited.
thing.
Literally, I had been waiting like my whole life to finally see Phantom live,
Aww.
and I could not stop singing. And I literally almost got kicked
Oh
out.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think I actually maybe had a confrontation with
yeah,
someone.
he did. It was. I was embarrassed
Let
after
her
that, and I
sing.
finally just shut my mouth.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, I love
It was
musicals.
classy. Okay.
Yeah, but I do love cats.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a picture of me dressed. I did it like as a. Yeah. Listen.
Last birthday. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
do.
I was like, we gotta put that in the show.
I was
Yeah,
like, I
I'm-
don't remember that.
I'm getting nervous.
Okay.
Here,
Okay.
we've
Okay,
had a
sorry.
lot of inappropriate conversations
My
already.
birthday, yeah.
Yes, for Chris's birthday. Kids, don't touch mom for a day.
Disassociating,
Don't touch
disassociating.
mom all day, kids. It's a game. Don't touch her.
Don't touch her.
I'm
She's
here,
gonna
but
wear
I'm
a cat
not
outfit.
here.
The gray snail.
Oh, you've been fed these. Now I understand.
She's
now
hot.
I understand. We met at a bar called the Gray Snail.
Yeah.
This is not Christian approved.
No.
I was 19.
10,000 minutes experiment podcast
Yep.
approved. Yeah. So
For
that's
all
where
our
you met.
Tulsa
That's where we
listeners.
met,
Okay.
but he worked at a church at the time, and I was not 21, and so we told everyone we met at a Coffee Bean.
Because
Oh.
there's no
but
coffee
there's
beans
not a
in
coffee
Tulsa.
bean in Tulsa.
Oh.
So
We thought it was funny. Yeah.
That's a good story.
we have to
Wow.
explain it a little too much, so I don't know if it's that funny.
But we celebrate it today.
Totally. Gosh, I love. Yeah, how many years have you married?
10 years this year.
This year.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and thank you, Mackenzie, so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
was
Thanks for
awesome.
letting us have this guy, too.
Oh, yeah. More of them.
Yeah.
Always.
Bro, yeah, you keep saying that. He keeps saying, yeah, guys, I could do it every day. Apparently, my wife says it's totally fine. Day and night, actually.
Supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah, she believes in me.
Guys, I believe in this. Just
Yeah.
keep it going. You guys are going on tour soon, right?
Yes, yes. For a year?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Don't touch mommy.
Oh. Is that the name of the episode?
Tour.
No.
Don't touch mommy tour. Okay, so welcome back, and we are in the pre-experiment. So we're going to talk about how the experiment, what it's going to be for this next week, and we're jumping into a new series. So we're rethinking words
Yeah.
Okay.
and concepts, things that we've always heard,
Words we use every day.
words we use, and especially in the kind of religious Christian, in quotes, circles. And so this one that we're going to rethink is church.
Ooh.
By the way, Mackenzie's still with us, which I'm very excited about.
I am
Yeah.
too. I'd prefer.
You
Let's
can't
be
get
honest.
rid of me. Sorry.
I actually asked her if I could, but if she would leave, but she
Yeah,
won't.
he tried. It was awkward, but I
Yeah.
just pushed through.
Yeah.
Powered through.
Overcame.
We're actually moving in, Tim.
That's so great. Please do.
Yeah. We're gonna
We
take
do.
the basement.
We do really
Boy's
want
not
to
ready
do a
for that.
commune.
Hiller
and I really do want to do a commune.
Let's go.
I
May
mean,
as well.
that this is getting down
Is
weird
that another word
lanes.
you're rethinking?
Rethinking church
Church.
equals commune.
Yeah.
No,
You're thinking of cult.
no, I don't want to do a cult. Just how do we? Okay. This is
Okay, anyways. I'll leave.
okay.
Stay, please.
Okay. So speaking of meeting, you see what I did there?
You did.
Yeah, that's good.
It was great.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different spelling.
Smooth.
Yeah.
Okay. Good thing we're going to scrap most of this. Hey, everybody. Tim Timmons here with another 10,000-minute experiment.
A lot more makes it in than I think in the moment that is going to make it in. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, yeah. I definitely leave.
Yeah.
The stuff that we're like, no way. That's the stupidest.
Yeah.
I leave in.
Yeah.
So we're talking about church. What is the church's role in the 10,080 minutes gathered and scattered? So this week's practice is going to be being the church.
Okay.
So I think as I was a pastor for years out in the Orange County,
Oh, love that county.
it is a great county, and I had a great community out there. Every time I said the word church, it was always about a thing I did or a place I went.
Yep.
Always. And even though I knew the idea that church is not that, like it's who we are, not what we do or where we go, every time we use the word, it's always a thing that we go to or a thing we do. Just think about it. Like every time we hear that word in our culture, our little sub-Christian culture or whatever, it's always about that. And to see the question of like, so what did Jesus actually say about church?
Mm-hmm.
And you only used the word twice, and it was not in the context that we really would even think it was about. It was about Peter. It's the people of God would be built upon the rock.
The Rock.
And then the other one was when, it's when you're supposed to go to somebody who's wronged you, and you go to them by yourself, and then with another person, and then if they still aren't listening, then you take the community. Bring the, the church, the people around, the Jesus people around. Those are the only two contexts that Jesus actually talks about church, which is so baffling. So what is the church's role in the 10,000 minutes and then the 80 minutes of gathered and scattered?
Depends how you define church.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think it depends on what expectations you've put on your church.
Totally.
On the 501c3 or...
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, on the institution or on us, like we are the gathered church right now.
I think
both.
most people don't get to the gathered church, like Big C church, communion of believers type thing.
Oops, don't get there?
Don't
What-
get there. I don't think they understand that piece of it. I think they just see a building.
Yeah.
Or see a tax write-off.
I mean, that's how we talk about it.
Mhm.
I mean, that is literally the entire context. This church is called this church.
Yeah.
Come to this church.
Yeah.
What church do you go to? So what's the purpose of the church? And if our definition is actually going to be more of the gathering and scattering of God's people. So, part of the thing that really changed my mind on even wanting to talk about this idea was when I started being a parent going, I don't want my kid to ever think that they go to church. They go to church and then they leave church and then they aren't.
Yeah.
I want my sons and my daughters to be like, oh no, I am the church at school when somebody's lame to me. I am the church when I'm with my brother. I am the church when I'm alone. I am still the same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is in me all week long. Like I want them to feel that instead of like, oh, I went to church. I go to church. Because then
So
you
you're
leave
defining the church as people,
The people of God.
who are
that gather together. But also,
so gathering is part of it,
There-
or
yeah, there's
does
an element.
everyone have an innate church inside of them by just being created?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Why do we
cool.
need to hold so much weight on that word when Jesus didn't?
yeah,
Like,
no,
why-
I
like-
love it.
Like, I think in talking about redefining it, it's like, do we really need to, or do we need to just step away from that idea completely and say it's not about that at all? So we don't need to even, let's just find a different way to even talk about it
Yeah.
rather than trying to continue using the word church and it being such a huge piece of being a Christian or being in the Christian,
Yeah.
the Jesus faith.
I mean, there's so much talk of it outside of Jesus in
Right.
the
Yeah.
Bible, in
Yeah,
New
yeah.
Testament
Yeah.
and Old Testament. I mean, even us being temples now, I actually
Yeah.
am
Yeah.
the dwelling place of God.
Right.
The temple is me now,
Right.
and is you. So it's almost. I love that question. Sorry, that you were closer than I thought you
touch
were.
my wife
Um,
again.
I hit her on the arm, you guys, like hard.
Guys, I have to go.
Just kidding.
You'll hear from my lawyer.
We don't have.
Listen.
It's her dad. Yeah.
So I don't want to throw the baby out with the bath, like of the whole.
Yeah.
Because it's a great
Also,
question.
we churches have tried to be cool and rename stuff so much that
Yeah.
even that to me has gotten like, oh,
Out of hand.
But it's so become the thing, like
Right.
of where we go, and
yeah.
and really what's hard about the institution is that there's so much driving the institution.
Yeah.
Gosh, you guys, I love the gathering of Jesus's people. I love it for 80 minutes.
What part do you love about it?
I think it's beautiful. Even yesterday in the gathering, there's something so powerful about remembering together.
Okay.
Like it's even the idea of taking communion, which is kind of coming back in my heart because it's been a bit passé for a
Like
long time for me,
tradition.
just
Sure.
tradition. But even just remembering Jesus together in
Yeah.
a group, whether we're singing the songs or praying things together,
Yeah.
or just kind of looking around going, okay, you're in this with me too?
Yeah.
Awesome. Like there's something really powerful about that. But it's only 80 minutes.
Uh-huh.
So what's it look like in the 10,000 minutes for us to be the church, not to do church
Yeah.
ever again? And so this isn't to blast the institution. I mean,
Yeah.
we're all a part of an institution, a church gathering in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when we left my job years ago and we started hanging out at that motel with just pimps and prostitutes and these awesome families that all lived in this one little motel room. And for 3 years, that was church. Like we actually started just doing life with them. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I learned so much about Jesus and the kingdom of God available in that place.
Yeah.
Probably more so in that place than I have in any gathering. So like what is this thing? What's it look like for us to be the church, not do
Yeah.
it? So the experiment is to be the church. That's what it is, the experiment for the week. And I just want to throw this out there. So Adam and Eve, they were the first representers of God. So that was their role, was to name things, to inhabit, to live in that place, and to literally just take care of all the things. They were the first representers as if God were doing it on the earth. That concept has been really profound to me of like, what's it look like for us to actually represent, not represent, but represent again now as image bearers of God and the Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead in us. What's it look like to actually represent him, to be his church? I mean, it's all so cliche and like cheesy to go be the body. But really, what would that look like this week for all of us to practice not doing church, but being the church, being the representers of Jesus on this planet to our spouses, to our neighbors?
If we are the church that was built on the rock, if we are God's people, and then all of these exercises that we've done, seeing other people in that way, it dumbs it all down a lot more than we try to make it. It's like, none of this other stuff matters that much. Just freaking love people. Be a decent human being. Like, see the Christ image in everyone and yourself, and then treat them accordingly. And I think we'd be on a lot better track of being the church if we just did that simple thing.
It's literally trying to join Jesus in our day. That actually being the representer. And Mike Erie, he said this weekend, he was just talking about how basically the demons have the best theology of all,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, I love that.
And oh my gosh, it's so true. I mean, none of us have the same theology in this room. Like none of us do, which is awesome. And I love that we can all be at the table together and go, yep, I don't know, let's just be curious about things. That's what we get to do. Like we could argue about theology and what's right, what's wrong, or we could try to actually join Jesus in what he's doing and love people well. So I think that's really the invitation for this week. And I think we'll learn a lot. So again, if you're doing this with us, you guys, let us know how it's going.
Not me, though. I'm not really a part of this.
Yeah, don't let Mackenzie know,
I don't
because...
know.
Oh, please do, actually.
918.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, easy.
Easy. But would you do this with somebody else? Like this is way better if you are bringing somebody else into this conversation, into your own life. So just find somebody else to do this with, or a few other people. And which leads me to another part, that why don't you share this podcast with somebody? Because why not? And then rate it good.
10 out of 10s.
10s, 15 out of 15s.
We don't know how to break it to him.
Every time.
So 10 out of 10 works
just
fine. So
yeah.
rate twice. Just 5 stars on one or 5 stars on the other.
If you've got 2 accounts, just get on and double up. Just like get some email addresses and sign up.
Hack into your wife's like Chris did.
It has been so fun talking to people and seeing their comments about this thing so far.
That's
so
awesome.
Something cool's happening. And this is our last one. See you guys later.
It was great. Well, last.